knitters, welcome to episode 86 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. Lots of you are new here, welcome. Please subscribe to my channel, thumbs up me, leave me a comment, I would love to read it. I am Devin Ventry. You can find me over on Instagram as Knitty McPurly, and you can find my website at devinATknittymcpurlyDOTcom, and I am Devin at devinATknittymcpurlyDOTcom if you want to send me an email. All that stuff is linked down below, so don't worry about it if you missed it, because I said it fast. Happy 4th of July weekend. Do you like my earrings? I got these from Grace and Wood. They had a patriotic earring shop update back on the Memorial Day weekend, and I picked these up. Wouldn't you swear that this is blue and this is red? Doesn't it kind of look like that? It's like our brains fill in that color because we expect it to be there, but it's not. This is just darker wood underneath. But I love Grace and Wood. If you go on their site and buy their earrings, write in the comments that you saw them on my podcast, because wouldn't it be great if they gave us like a discount code that we could all use? Because I don't know about you, but I'm in love with their earrings. I get the text updates, and every time I get one, I'm like, click, click, click. I need some new earrings. Anyway, if you are new here, welcome. Go pre-order an advent calendar if advent calendars, yarny advent calendars are your thing. It's over on the website. If you would like a box of presents to come to your house and surprise. Okay, I think the problem is that my phone was full. So I deleted some stuff and hopefully that will work. Father Stew was great. You should definitely go see it. Yeah, epic, life-changing, loved it. And when I went to look up the real Father Stew, he actually got his master's in theology from the same college where I went in Steubenville, which I thought was really cool. Okay, progress and shop news. I have decided to close the waitlist for the retreat because pretty much everyone has completely paid, and I have 30 people on the wait list, and it doesn't feel likely that I'm going to use up all of those slots. So I think it is just full for now. And you know, if anyone does drop out, that can still happen. People can still come off the wait list, but I doubt we're gonna get through 30 people. So hopefully there will be more retreats in the future. I think that would be really fun. I don't know if I can do it on a yearly basis. Maybe we can get some kind of a committee that we could, I don't know, make it happen. I don't know, but that's possible. So my Patriot yarn sold out from this weekend. The shop update started Thursday at noon, and it completely got sold out from this morning, from Thursday through this morning. And if you missed it, go sign up for my newsletter, because the newsletter people get to shop first. They get a code for a discount. So that is the best way to keep up with Knitty McPurly shop news, is through the newsletter. You can sign up for that on my website. The Hepburn pattern is live, yay! It is also half off. So for $3.50, you can go get this very, very simple raglan shaping Audrey Hepburn themed sweater pattern. If you love miles and miles of fingering weight stockinette, and you want that to culminate in a wardrobe piece that will last you forever and ever. It has a lot of ease in it. If you gain a few pounds, if you lose a few pounds, it's still gonna fit. So it's a great sweater. It's a classic sweater. If you missed last week's podcast, it had a lot of the testers' pictures up on it. So if you want to see those, go back and watch that. I have not put this pattern on Ravelry yet. My patterns tend to do better just on my own site. I don't know. I will, I guess, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that was a big thing for me to do. Like I said, I kind of lost my knitting mojo for a bit, and that included pattern writing. So now that everything is done for that, the next thing is to write up the pattern for the Everywhere sweater. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently for this. This is a great sweater. I actually wear this around the house a lot because my husband is only happy with air that he pays for. So the air conditioning is always on at our house. And sometimes it is just, gosh, I don't know whether it's, I don't know, whatever, it's fine. Sometimes the air in my house is really, really cold. So I do like a nice warm sweater. This is a bulky weight sweater held double with mohair. So I don't know if that makes super bulky exactly, but it's a great sweater. I love it a lot. It's very basic, and that is the next project. However, I already have the next sweater in my head, and that is just gonna be so much fun. So, but you never know. Sometimes these things are failures. Don't you remember that one that I did with the sleeves? And it was like I knit the whole thing. I was like, oh, I love it, let's do it. And then I put it on and I was like, this is terrible. So sometimes that happens too. But I have been doing a lot of secret behind the scenes stuff. Like a lot of the advent calendar stuff is a secret. A lot of the retreat stuff is a secret. So all that stuff that I'm doing in the background, I can't really show. However, I am moving forward on, it's a big thing for my shop because it's something that I've wanted for a long time, and that is a set of colors that I have available in all the bases. So I have 8 bases that are going to be permanent. I have entertained a few others in the meantime, but I have settled on 8. If you're interested in knowing what they are, go to my website and click on the tab that says Yarn Info, and that has the bases that I'm going to be keeping. The colors I have decided on. I just need to I have all the yarn coming, I ordered it, and I'm going to be dyeing up my 12 colors and putting together color cards, and that's a big thing for me as a shop. Plus, I'm coming up on my 3-year shop-iversary, July 11th. Gosh, I gotta do something. I'm just now remembering that that's happening in like a week. So probably there will be a sale. So keep an eye out for that. But I got my knitting mojo back. That was really cool for me. And the thing that got it back is working on the project for the advent calendar, because it is so great. Like I love it so much that I think in the future, my advent calendars are gonna be this. Like I'm not gonna deviate from this general genre of stuff because it is so great. I kind of feel like there's 2 kinds of projects. There's the kind that is for a specific person. Either it has a fit, or it has a style, or it has a color that you can't pass around the family, right? And then there's the project that can go in the accessories bin that's worn by anyone in the house. This project for my advent calendar is an everyone in the house project. It can go in that bin and anyone can wear it, which I just think is great because that also makes it very giftable. If you want to end up with something that either, I mean, you can keep it if you want. I'm gonna keep mine. I mean, they're gonna go, am I gonna share them? Let me think, am I gonna do that? Maybe I will ultimately share them, but not right away. For a while, they're going to be only mine. But ultimately, I think I probably will share them. But if you needed a gift, like we're talking about December knitting, if you need a last minute gift, this could be multiple gifts. So it's gonna be great. So that, working on that project really gave me my knitting mojo back. So because it, is incremental, I'm dyeing the yarn. I don't have all the yarn dyed yet. So I got to a point where I didn't have the yarn for the next thing. So I couldn't work on it. And so I had pulled my several bags of works in progress up from the basement. And I mean, I call them works in progress, but really they were all just kind of in timeout. None of them were motivating me, and I wasn't really interested in finishing any of them. But the other day, my husband and I had a dump date. What's a dump date, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. A dump date is when your old dishwasher dies and you got a new dishwasher, and your husband is handy enough that he can install the new dishwasher, so you don't need that guy to come to your house and do it for you, who also takes the old dishwasher. So then you have to go to the dump to dump the old dishwasher, which is a whole thing. The dump is an experience. So my husband says, I have to go to the dump and I have to go to Costco to get whatever. And I said, I'll go to the dump. And my daughter goes, ooh, dump date. And Costco. So that's what a dump date is. But the dump is so picky. Like, you drive up there, you have to show them your driver's license to prove that you really live there. And then they'll ask you, is this dishwasher from your house? And you say, yes. I guess because they don't want contractors dumping random stuff. I don't know. It's the dump. Why are they so picky? So my husband, he had to make 2 trips to the dump. Only one of them ended in a dump date, but the other one was when he cut branches off a tree. He takes them to the dump and they're like, we do not accept tree branches on Sunday or whatever day it was. So then he had to come all the way home and go back on Monday to dump the tree branches in the pile of tree branches. Like, all it is backing up to the pile, chuck them out, drive away. That's it. Not on Sundays. No. So now we're like, oh, you have a dishwasher? We only accept those on Monday at 2:30 until 2:45. Oh, it's a Maytag dishwasher? That's from 2:46 until 2:51. Oh gosh, it was funny. Why did I talk about, oh, the dump date. So we went to the dump, which is south, like 15 miles. And then we went to Costco, which is like north, another 15 miles. So this was a big trip. It was quite the date. And so I was like, you know what? I feel like knitting. Now that I had kind of wet my whistle on this project for the advent calendar that I couldn't work on at that moment, I was like, I am going to grab one of my whips and I'm going to work on it. And so I did that, you guys. I got to show you. So you know my Faucet pattern. Okay, I have 3 of them already. I have 3 of them. Why on earth would I need a 4th one? Well, if you don't know the story, I'll just tell it briefly. This British lady, whose name I forget, I will look it up and I'll put her picture up on here while I'm talking. She knit my Faucet in these colors and I loved them so much that I put it on Instagram how much I loved them. And I thought I really would love to make a Faucet like this. So when I had cancer, a lovely, beautiful, wonderful yarn dyer sent me a gift of yarn in those colors. And I started working on a Faucet. My other ones are the size 2, and this one is a size 3. Also, I played it fast and loose with the colors. Like, this section and this section are not supposed to be the same color, but I really love this birthday cake. It's hard, sorry, I'm trying to get there, that's better. I really love this birthday cake yarn with all of the speckles, and so I wanted more of that. Because this white is just an undyed skein. The reason I paired it with that, so she sent me the yellow and the birthday cake, and I paired it just with an undyed skein because it matched the background of this birthday cake one. And it kind of made the yarn go further. So did I do short rows? I don't even think I did short rows. I think I'm just holding it so that this falls lower in the front. But I'm gonna do a different neckline on, I'm sorry, a different hemline on this. It's going to depend on how much yarn I have. Right now, I have birthday cake here, and I'm just calling it that. I don't even think I don't know what this yarn is called, but this is how much I have left of that. And then I have this undyed skein here. And then I have this much yellow. So my plan for this sweater is to increase to make it more tunic-like. Like I don't want it to be cropped like the other Faucets are. I want it to be longer and wider, and I want to do short rows on the hem. So this will be much more of a t-shirt type t-shirt when I'm done with it. I'm just going to do the cuff on the sleeve like the pattern calls for, but the hemline I'm planning on doing totally different. And I have been working on this. So when I picked it up, I was right here, and I think I had done like 1 or 2 rows in the undyed. You can kind of see that. You can see it better on the camera when you can see the whole thing. You can see that row of undyed there, because I was going to do this section in the plain kind of off-white, natural white. But then I was like, no, I love this too much. But I think I'm going to run out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do these 1x1 colorwork stripes with this and the undyed, and maybe a little bit of the yellow into the hemline, which will be like this top part here. I think I'm going to do the hemline like the Hepburn sweater, where it is straight across in the front and then it has a nice big scoop in the back, because I just think that's flattering. I think it looks nice. You can do kind of the French tuck in the front. But yeah, so this is where I picked it up, and this is how much I've done. And you can see that I get why I stopped here, because it was going to be just boring, plain white stockinette. But with this, with the speckles, it's just really a lot of fun. Speckles make stockinette more fun, don't you think? Wouldn't it be cool to knit a Hepburn sweater with speckles? It would totally change it. It wouldn't be as, classic in the end, but it would be really fun to knit, and it would be cute, I would think. I mean, you could really do anything you want with a plain stockinette sweater, and it would be awesome. Anyway, the Faucet is a great summer tee. I have noticed that a lot of people have been knitting t-shirt knitting patterns lately because of the warm weather. The Faucet is a DK weight. It is not fingering weight, though it would be awesome to do one in a fingering weight, wouldn't it? Light bulb. But the DK weight one works up faster if you needed it to work faster. This yoke especially knits itself. The only boring part of the sweater is the part that I'm working on, kind of the body part, where it's just all one color, but it depends on how long you want to make it. I have them in all lengths, and I wear them all. The super short ones I will wear with a dress mostly. Any kind of belly showing, I have aged out of that, but I do still wear them a lot, either with a longer shirt or with a dress or whatever. But I really wanted one that I could wear by itself as a t-shirt. So that pattern is available in 3 languages, English, French, and German, and it is my most popular pattern. I sell that pattern every day, especially whenever I get a sale and I see that the name is something that sounds German or French especially. I'm like, oh, it must be the Faucet, and that's what it is. Benedicta is another one that's also available in German. I don't think that one's available in French, but it's really cool to have my patterns available in more than one language. It also has baubles, colorwork, mosaic colorwork. Super fun, super, super fun. It knits itself. Okay, word of the week. We have talked about frogging in a previous episode, which is where you pull the needles out and just rip it, rip it, rip it, right? Frogging is not delicate. You just rip it all out. But sometimes we don't want to rip it quite like that. We want to do something more delicate, and that is where tinking happens. Probably you know that to tink is to unknit or knit backwards, because tink, T-I-N-K, is knit backwards. So when you are tinking, you are carefully unknitting. Am I gonna be able to show this? I don't know. Probably you already know this. But so here is my stitch to tink it. Can you see? I'm just gonna doink, doink, doink. And you can tink for as long as you want to. it takes time and it's kind of tedious, but it is a good way to work back if you've made a mistake in a way that is delicate and you're not going to lose any stitches. It does take longer than frogging, but if you don't have to go back very far, or if you're working something that has directions that you don't want to mess up, like a chart or lace or whatever, then tinking is nice. So I learned that the word tink, meaning to unknit, did not enter our written language in English until the early 2000s, which is not that long ago. It's like 20 years. Now, it entered the spoken language earlier than that, which of course we don't know how much earlier or who came up with it. Whenever there's something like this, Elizabeth Zimmerman is usually at the source, but that's just my speculation. I don't know if she actually is, but I thought that was really interesting. Also, as I was reading about tinking, I came across the history of okay, like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Like, what is the history of that? There is a book, a whole book that on the history of okay, and I ordered it. So I'm going to talk about that next week. It's not specifically a knitting word, but how often in a day do you say okay? All the time, right? If you meet someone who has English as their second language, I guarantee you one of the things they know is okay, because that is so common. So if you are a linguophile like me and you love words, be sure to tune in next week because we're going to talk about the history of okay. All right, let's talk about our topic of the week. This week, we're going to talk about knitting mojo and inspiration. If you've ever lost your knitting mojo, you know how great it feels when it comes back. I feel so happy that I have this project that I can work on. I'm not sure what that is. It's just so nice to be like, it makes me want to sit on the couch or sit on a chair. I don't sit easily, like I don't relax. I don't really do that. So for me, and the kids are like, Mom, and the kids love when I sit down. It's like, will you sit with me, Mom? My son will say, Mom, tomorrow morning, when you get up, can we sit on the couch and like, whatever, watch TV or pet the dog or talk to each other or whatever, but can we sit? Can we do that? In fact, my littlest one, she's 7.5 now, so she's kind of outgrown this. But it used to be, she always wanted to sit on my lap. And I know, because I know her and she is my daughter, that the reason she wanted to sit on my lap was to hold me down. She could control my getting up and walking away by sitting on my lap. So one year for Lent, I was like, I gave up getting up. I was like, if she is sitting on my lap, I will not, set her aside and go do what I need to do. I will sit and do whatever she wants me to do. That was a hard Lent. First world problems, right? Anyway, I love to sit and I love to knit. And it's so great to have that project that you love working on. And inspiration, like when you get inspired to work on something. I don't have a lot of time for knitting podcasts, frankly. I used to watch them a lot more when that kind of divide in the knitting community happened. A lot of them went super woke, and I wasn't interested. But I found one that I love watching, and that is the Mystery Mouse Knitting Podcast. This is done by Holly Armstrong, who is coming to my retreat. As I was watching this today, so I got up early before anyone else, and I was sitting on the couch. And then when my son came down, he was super happy to see me sitting there. But I was watching her latest podcast. I think it was episode 9. So she's still relatively new, but still to have 9 episodes is pretty good. Maybe she records it every week. But I just loved it because everything that she's into, I'm into, like books and knitting and crocheting. I don't crochet as much, but I do love to crochet. So I just loved it. She talked about these books that I had not read, that I wanted to read. She's interested in World War II and Tolkien. I like him, but I'm really more of a Lewis girl. Love C.S. Lewis. But anyway, I was super inspired. So this is going to be a combination of topic of the week and knitting fantasies, because I was very inspired by the blanket that she showed on episode 9. This is a crochet blanket called the Granny Stripe blanket. It's very popular. I have seen it before. I just loved it. I loved what it is. It's basically, it's DK weight, but in looking at the pattern, you could adjust it for any yarn weight as long as you're consistent throughout. You can use any yarn weight you want, I would imagine, and then just adjust the hook size and adjust the cast on size to change the size of your blanket. That's how my brain works. However, a DK weight blanket does sound great. And if you wanted to make this, you could use like a DK weight advent calendar like I have in my shop ready for pre-order right now. So hit pause, go pre-order your advent calendar, and then come back and we'll talk about the blanket. Anyway, this is a free pattern by Attic24. I looked through the whole pattern. It's just on her blog, and it has a photo tutorial to show you how to do it. She is British, but it looked very easy to me. And I'm a fair weather crocheter. I don't even crochet all that often, but there's double crochet, triple crochet, not casting on, but the chain that you do at the beginning. It looked very basic to me, where it's just the same thing over and over and over again. It looks like a great sit on the couch and just pick it up kind of blanket. And I would think that it would be very inspiring to work on because you're always changing colors. You can use scraps, you could do all one color. She has one that looks very planned. I'll put pictures up here. It's rainbow, but you don't have to do that. You could just use whatever you want, use whatever scraps you have left over. I would love to make this blanket. It looks awesome to me. So that's actually my only knitting fantasy because I was just so inspired by it. I love using scraps. Shawls are another great way to use scraps. I have a lot of scrappy shawls in my shop if you're interested in scrappy shawls. Any advent calendar type of shawl is going to also work great for scraps because basically you're just using a lot of small amounts of yarn, or you can use an advent calendar, whatever you want. So there it is, topic of the week, knitting fantasies all rolled into one. Okay, you guys, last time I did not have a So Here's What Happened. So several of you sent me wonderful stories and I cannot wait to share them all. However, don't rest on your laurels because the last time this happened, where a bunch of people sent me in stories, people were like, oh, we've got stories. And they didn't send me any for a long time. So if you have one, please still send it and it will go in the queue and I will share it on the podcast. But like I said, this is a weekly podcast, so I need a story every week. Send it to me, email it to me, devinATknittymcpurlyDOTcom. It's down below if you forgot it. You can write it out and I'll read it. You can send me a video. Those are my favorite. But whatever, I would love to hear your story and I would love to share it on the podcast. Today's story comes from Kristen Michelle. You might remember her from the lady who learned how to knit in the Walmart parking lot. That was a great story. She can tell a really good story, so I have another good one for you here today. She says, in addition to knitting, I also crochet. Here we are with crochet again. I learned to crochet a few years after learning to knit. When I started crocheting, my mom, who knew how to crochet but hadn't done it for years, picked it back up. It very quickly became an obsession for us both. Don't we all get this? Like, you guys are watching a knitting podcast. You get the knitting obsession, in this case, the crochet obsession. Yes. I would make character hats and toys for my friends and their kids, and she made blankets for animals in local shelters around her. As time went by, I drifted back to knitting, and we talked about all the new crafts she was getting into. I assumed that she'd more or less dropped it again as we did it together less and less. Fast forward to September 2020, just 10 weeks after I welcomed my first child into the world, my mom passed away unexpectedly. I have goosebumps. My mom, my best friend, the one who was going to teach me how to be a good mom, was gone. I found myself desperately clinging to every last thing and memory we had together. September 2020, this is also like 6 months into the pandemic. So, oh my gosh. After her funeral, my dad and I began the task of going through her things. Much to my surprise and delight, she never did stop crocheting her blankets for the local animal shelters, and even had several that were mostly done, if not completed. Probably these were her TV knits, you know, like the end of the day, let's not think anymore, just pick up, or not knits, but crochets, right? She says, along with the blankets, she accumulated a massive yarn stash. Yes! I was able to take several blankets home along with her extensive stash, and we were able to set aside a few blankets for my son and any future children. It warms my heart knowing that even though my son never met his grandma, he has something that she lovingly made. I've also been working on a gigantic granny square blanket. I'll attach the pictures and put them up while I'm talking, that incorporates yarn from both of our stashes so that when missing her becomes overwhelming, I can wrap up in it and remember her. It feels like she's there with me in my craft room, crafting away with me the way we used to do. I plan on using her stash to crochet blankets to donate to animal shelters in my local area, along with a few more things that my dad's sister and I can hang on to. Thank you so much for letting me share. Isn't that a beautiful story? I responded to her email telling her about the fabric that my grandma left when she died. My grandma is the one who taught me how to sew. And when she died, I still have some of it in my fabric stash. And it's just really nice to have. Like, and when I make things out of it, like, it's really special. It's really nice to have that to hold on to. That kind of makes me feel good about the massive yarn stash and pile of whips that I'm gonna leave my children when I die. It's okay to leave all that because one of them surely will pick it up and know what to do with it. And if not, then they'll find somebody. I have had people who have lost parents or grandparents and they've inherited knitting needles and accoutrements and yarn that they need to pass on, and they've given it to me saying, can you do something with this? And I'm like, of course I can. You know, and that's what we knitters are here for, is to carry on the legacy of past knitters. So thank you so much, Kristen, for that beautiful, beautiful story. I have so many great stories to share. So tune in because there's going to be more great stories coming. In July, I'm going to Ohio to visit my brother, but there is only one weekend. Hopefully I can record the podcast early, like on Thursday of that week, so that I don't miss any because I have stories to share and I can't miss it. Thank you for joining me. This has been so fun as always. My family is like, Mom, when are you making dinner? And I was like, well, I got to just go record the podcast real quick. And they're like, okay, but you're not going to edit it, right? Like that can happen later. I'm like, yeah, that can happen later. So anyway, bye for now. See you next week. Bye, knitters.